On CBSSports.com, you can actually get a full 7-round mock. But again, just the top 10 here. Once again, some changes with the 2 quarterbacks at the top. Right now, C.J. Stroud goes to the Panthers. Bryce Young to the Texans. That's not in agreement with the betting board at Caesars, which has Young as a massive favorite over Stroud to go number 1 overall out in Kansas City. All right, let's welcome in the fellows who have been patiently waiting in, Ryan Wilson and Rick Spielman. Guys, we highlighted a handful of teams to go over Ryan's 7-round selections. Ryan, you're going to explain those selections, and then Rick will dissect them. So let's first start with the Cowboys draft, R-Dub, because the question, of course, running back, does it come in the first round or the second round? In this instance, you're going second round.
Tommy, first let me offer an olive branch to Rick Spielman and his Gaia Bar shirt. That thing is a first-round grade. I love it. I'm glad he wore it. Those aren't suspenders if you're watching on TV, Tommy. Those are part of the outfit he's got going on there. As for the Cowboys, do they go running back in round 1? Would they dare take a Bijan Robinson? Should he be there? I couldn't bring myself to do it. Instead, I had him get tight end Sam Laporta out of Iowa. Rick and I have been talking about him on the podcast. They lost Dalton Schultz. They have some young guys on the roster at tight end, starting with Jake Ferguson. I think you have to upgrade the position there. And then in round 2, you get Devin Achane, the outstanding track speed sprinter, running back out of Texas A&M. He's only about 188, but he is a one-cut-and-go guy. He can run between the tackles. He gives you that versatility. And you see the rest of the draft there. I'll just point out 2 more names. J.L. Skinner, the safety out of Boise State. He is great on the back end in terms of coverage. Needs to be a little more aggressive as a tackler coming downhill. And then Emil Ekiyor out of Alabama. He can play guard or center, and he gives you that versatility in the middle of that offensive line.
What you got, Rick?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I didn't hear Ryan, but I usually tune him out anyway. So what I'm looking at is in the Cowboys, and I don't know how he would pass on Bijan Robinson. He's a top 10 talent. Understand he is a running back, but they do need a running back. They let Zeke go. They do get Pollard, but you can't pass up a player of this caliber, especially in your home state of Texas. So I would have went with the running back here. And then he took the running back in the 7th round, Achane. I was looking at his mock draft, and I know I need a tight end very badly. And he had Musgrave going at 45, and then Washington coming off the board for the tight end from Georgia at 46, and then Kincaid, the tight end from Utah, going at 48. But I'm going to do everything in my power, seeing that there's a running back or a tight end run, to go up and get one of these tight ends. And if I can't, I'm taking Trenton Simpson. He's too athletic. He fits Dan Quinn's scheme, so he would be a great addition to the defense.
All right, let's move on to the Dolphins. What do you got there, Ryan?
Yeah, the Dolphins only have 4 picks, Tommy. They lost the first-round pick, obviously, because of their tampering charges. They lost some more picks as well in terms of trades, going back to getting the wide receiver out of Kansas City there. Kalijah Kancey, I'm starting with him in the 2nd round. That's their first pick at 51. Short arms are the only issue with Kalijah Kancey. He is incredibly explosive in the middle of the defense, but when you have 30-plus inch arms, it's a little difficult to project him into a first-rounder. Tucker Kraft, a tight end, helped there out of South Dakota State. No one's talking about him because he went to the FCF program, but he is a really good football player. He's my tight end 6 as we sit here. And then a big, long-striding wide receiver out of Wake Forest, and A.T. Perry, a down-the-field guy. And finally, Kenny McIntosh, the running back out of Georgia. We know the run game is on point in Mike McDaniel's system, and I think you get value at the end of the draft here with McIntosh, who had a great career at Georgia.
Yeah, the one guy I really like in this is taking Tucker Kraft, the tight end from South Dakota State, because I think he's underrated. He is one of the most complete tight ends. Not only can he help you in the passing game, but what is critical in Miami's run defense is to have a blocking tight end. And I think Kraft can develop into that and would be an integral part of their offense going forward.
And lastly, let's talk about the Steelers, where Ryan has his selections and some agreement from Rick, I think, here.
So Rick and I talked about this on the podcast last episode, Tommy. Julius Juju Brents, the long cornerback out of Kansas State, is getting some late buzz here around the league. He has a chance to sneak into the back of the first round. I went crazy, took him at 17 here. 34-inch arms, almost 6'3", ran a 4.56, but as Rick will tell you, when your arms are that long, it makes you faster than 4.53 because your ability to break up passes down the field. Then at the bottom or the top of the second round, now that there are only 31 picks in round 1, at pick 32, the Chase Claypool trade pick from the Bears, they get Keon Waite, the 280-pound edge rusher out of Georgia Tech who can reduce inside. They get a ball, Antonio Johnson, who could play in the slot, but he comes downhill with some real meaning business in terms of run support. And finally, I'll mention Tyler Steen, the offensive tackle transfer from Vanderbilt to Alabama, who maybe kicks inside to the next level, but I know that Rick is a huge Tyler Steen fan.
I'm glad you're putting words into my mouth, but that's fine. I totally disagree with taking Juju Brents. I know you've been in love with him this whole time since day one we started doing this. But Joey Porter Jr. Is still on. His dad was a great Pittsburgh Steeler. How can they pass up on a corner with that caliber that's going to develop into a very good player? The other guys that I saw, Keon White, I agree with. I think he's a very good player. Johnson, I would pass on and maybe lean towards a linebacker like a Deion Henley from Washington State over taking that strong safety. And I do agree with you. Steen could be a steal of this draft because I know he can go swing left and right at tackle. Also, a lot of teams are looking at him as a potential guard. He would be great value where you have him selected.
All right, guys, certainly appreciate it. And Rick already in his Pro Bowl wardrobe form with that shirt. That is A+ right there from our guy Rick Spielman. Rick, thank you very much. Ryan, thank you very much. With the first pick, it's not only in audio form. When they're on the YouTubes, as Ryan would say, you can get a glimpse of some of the fashion that these guys bring to the table. Scan that QR code. We are less than 2 weeks away from the draft in Kansas City, folks.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.